Microsoft recently released a statement about native 4K, and they decided to say that the Project Scorpio, the upcoming Xbox, is going to natively run games at 4K. This is somewhat different from the PlayStation Pro, which seems to only be able to upscale games into 4K. Now, the differences in this is that natively, your games are going to look a lot better rather than being upscaled. It's just the way it is. It's very hard to explain. You really have to see it with your own eye to judge the quality, and a lot of people really have issues telling the difference. You'll know it when you see it. It's very difficult to not tell native versus upscaled. So a good comparison would be like looking at your old DVDs that really aren't like the Blu-ray quality and then playing them on an upscaled Blu-ray player. That'll give you a good reference and point to look at. Now, there's a few things I wanted to discuss with this, and I want to talk about it. It's extremely hard to run 4K at 60 frames a second. It's pretty hard to run 4K at 30 frames a second. There are graphics cards from last generation that can do this stuff, like a GTX 970, as long as you're willing to take a hit on the graphics being not maxed to ultra, but still set at the 4K resolution, and as long as you're willing to take a hit from the frame rates. Now, really, this is only confirming the fact that the Xbox is going to have a separate GPU. So I'm not arguing that these consoles aren't going to be able to do this. I'm only arguing that they're going to have to put in a separate GPU instead of using APU hybrid units, where you have a computer processor, but it also handles the graphics and has a section off portion of it to handle said graphics. So the Xbox One Scorpio isn't set to come out till next year, and the specs aren't 100% determined. The only question remains is how powerful is this system really going to be able to drive that 4K? And for me personally, I have to say it's going to at least have to be as powerful as a GTX 970. To get 4K at 30 frames a second, probably going to have that power. And that's some old power, don't get me wrong, but you can't just go out and buy a GTX 970 now for $50. It's not cheap, is the point I'm trying to make. So I'm very curious to how pricey the new Xbox Scorpio is actually going to be. Do you guys think that you're going to be able to even afford the Xbox One Scorpio, or would you might as well just buy a PC with the capabilities of 4K? It's not that difficult to build a PC, or simply put, if you went and got a PC off of the shelf, like you went to Best Buy, you picked up a $500 PC that had a power supply, a CPU, RAM, motherboard, and case, no GPU, and then just put, $200 into a mid-range graphics card, like maybe the RX 480. I know GPU pricing is off the hook crazy right now. It's really up and down where it shouldn't be. But let's just say you put a $200 graphics card in there and you could somewhat do 4K. Again, 4K at 30 frames, not really desirable. Some people will play it, probably what the consoles are going to be aiming at. But in the end, that's what it would require, and that's what it would do if you bought a PC and did that. Do you think that would be a better option though? See, if you could get a PC for, let's just say $400, put a $200 card in it, do you think that would work out? Recently, Sony has come out and was talking about how the PlayStation 3 was a failure because of the pricing. You guys remember $599 US. Well, that's pretty much what I'm expecting the Scorpio to cost. I mean, I don't think it's really going to cost $599, but to be able to do 4K fluently and look really nice natively, we're talking here. We're not talking about upscaling. Natively, it's going to be kind of difficult to price subpar parts. Even by then, even by the time that the Scorpio comes out, I don't think a GTX 970 is still going to be under $100. So you have to imagine how much the Xbox One costs when it launched, which was about $350 to $400. And now we're adding in more horsepower to get that 4K up. How much more is it going to cost? $500? Probably. $600? Yeah, I think that's a little bit high, but I think that's really what they're going to have to be aiming at. $499. Because I think a lot of people remember the $599 $599 US thing, and it's going to be a serious issue if Microsoft does decide to go the route of $599 US. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. I don't have much else to say about this. Do you think that this is going to be worth the money or not? I tried something new with the background footage of the commentary. You guys can go ahead and leave your comments in the section below. If you absolutely hate it, let me know. Really, honestly, I'm trying to get some footage of stuff that has not to relate with consoles and stuff, because it's very hard to pick a game and say, oh, well, this goes well with this console. It's like, yeah, the Xbox One can play many games. You know, Halo would probably go well with it, but that's not the default game for it. So whenever I do news stories about consoles, it's very hard for me to think about what gameplay I should use and stuff like that. So if you guys enjoyed the background footage here for this video, let me know. Leave me a like. If I get enough likes, I'll start doing more of these and showing some background footage of some fun stuff that me and my friends do in our spare time and other games that aren't actual video games. Maybe you guys would like to request something to see as background footage, and we will attempt it. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good gaming and God bless.